Welcome to Michael's Musings on Music. We are talking about what music is made of. I hope you're enjoying these talks on the building blocks of music. You might have noticed last week my dog Mopsy slept through my talk, and I think she's actually sleeping again, but anyway, we'll carry on. Today we're going to explore what a staff is and what a clef is, and start talking about the musical pitches. Now, the notes and rests that we've been learning about are written on the lines and spaces of a musical staff. 5 parallel lines containing 4 spaces between them. Now, the particular note of each line and space depends on what clef is written at the beginning of the staff. This is a treble clef. The treble clef is for higher pitched instruments. Most woodwind instruments, high brass instruments, and violins use almost exclusively the treble clef. Sometimes called a G clef, because not only is it in the shape of a stylized G, but also the clef circles the second line on the staff, which is the note G. This is the bass clef. It contains lower pitched notes, used by the bassoon, the lower brass instruments like the tuba, and the lower string instruments. Sometimes known as the F clef, because it has 2 dots surrounding the note F. Each pitch is named after the first 7 letters of the alphabet: A, B, C, D, E, F, G. After the note G, we start again at A and repeat with the same 7 letter names, in essence the same notes, just higher in pitch. So if we start on an A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then back to an A again. See, kind of the same note, just higher in register. Then the next 7, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, back to A again. Here are where the notes belong on the staff with a treble clef. I just want you to notice the pattern we've just talked about. You see, after the note G, we go back to A and start again. The higher the notes on the staff, the higher the pitch. And here is where the notes are on a bass clef. Again, notice the repeating pattern. Now, as a musician, you need to know very quickly and at a glance which note belongs on which line or which space in each clef. So as young students, we all learn these quite silly mnemonic devices to help us remember what notes are on the lines, what notes are on the spaces in each clef. Here are the line notes and the space notes in the treble clef. The lines, as you can see, are E, G, B, D, F. So a common mnemonic device, at least from my generation, is every good boy deserves fudge. E, G, B, D, F. There's also every good boy does fine, or even every good bird does fly. Now the spaces are easier to remember in the treble clef because they spell out the word face, F-A-C-E. So all the notes we've been talking about so far are what we call natural notes. They are the white notes on the keyboard, incidentally. But these aren't all the notes that we have access to in Western music. These natural notes can be altered to provide us with the rest of the notes. To understand this, let's talk about the distance between one note and another. Now, they can be quite large. For example, or now, the smallest distance between 2 notes is what we call a semitone or a half step. Sounds like this. That's going up. Right, that's the shortest distance between 2 notes. So this brings us to the idea of sharps and flats, what are known as accidentals. When you flatten a natural note, you move 1 half step or semitone lower. So we're going to use the piano keyboard to visualize this. The white note is an A, and one semitone or half step lower is the key right next to it, which would be an A flat. This is what an A flat looks like. And here is what an A and an A flat look like on the staff with a treble clef. Remember face? The second space is an A. We put the flat in front of it and it lowers it one semitone. So if I were to play this measure, it would sound like this. A flat. Now a sharp works the same way but in the opposite direction. And when you sharpen a note, you move one half step or semitone higher. So again, that's the note A on the keyboard. And then moving the smallest possible distance, the next key to the right, you will get an A sharp. This is what it looks like on the staff. And this is what this measure sounds like. A sharp. So again, we have A flat, A sharp. This picture just extrapolates this same idea. You have our natural notes that are the white keys on the piano, and then you have the sharps and flats. But why do the black notes have two names? This is because it depends on how you approach it. If you go a semitone up from a C, that note is called a C sharp. If you go a semitone or lower, semitone down from a D, that note's called a D flat. But the pitch is exactly the same. It's the same note, it just has two different names. So where does this leave us? With all the natural notes and the corresponding sharps and flats, Western music has 12 different sounding notes, each a half step or semitone apart. And that's it. So, here's our A again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The 13th note is back to our A, and then do another 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's our A again. So on. And that's it. Those 12 notes just in different registers. It's amazing when you think about it, because in every symphony by Brahms or Mahler or Beethoven or any concerto or any Beatles song or any song by Dua Lipa, they are all made up of only 12 notes in a myriad of combinations. So next time we're going to try to make sense of these myriad of combinations when we talk about scales.